My name is Kyle Dimond. My guest for this episode is Mr. Damon Jackson, who is on an incredible win streak in the UFC. If you don't recognise the name immediately, then you might remember Damon for his last fight, where he got a first round finish over Pat Sabatini. One of the best moments of the year, I think. It was on the Corey Sandhagen versus Sonya Dong card, and he unfortunately lost his brother Bradley a week before the fight. And so had to go through the rest of the fight week, and then went on to produce probably the best performance of his career against Pat Sabatini, who's a very, very tough guy. And the emotion in the octagon afterwards was a moment that really stuck with a lot of people after that night. Off the back of that win and a very impressive win streak in the UFC that he's currently on, he has now got a fight on January 14th against Dan Ige on the first fight night of the year, and a fight that will see him get into the top 15 with a win and be knocking on the door of those top 10 spots. So we caught up with Damon and spoke about all of that stuff. So without further ado, Mr. Damon Jackson. Obviously, we're here to talk about your upcoming fight with Dan Ige, which I'm so excited for. Top 15 matchup. That's great. We'll get to that in a sec, because I wouldn't be doing my job correctly if we didn't talk about your last fight. Because in my opinion, it was one of the best moments of the entire year, your win versus Pat Sabatini. And I think a fight that I saw that you posted something on your social media about people have now seen you cry in front of a bunch of other people. But I think, things like that are important in getting fans to connect with you, because they've seen, what you do inside the cage, but also they got a bit of, your personal life in there as well. I can't even begin to imagine how difficult the fight week was. How much were you able to block out everything that happened in the build up to your fight?
Yeah, I mean, you stay pretty busy. You got a lot of media stuff. You got to prep for the weight cut. You got to be eating constantly, doing the right things with all that. So there's a lot to think about. And then, just being around my friends too, it helps a lot. Just kind of chilling with them and stuff. So that just same old stuff. You stay busy as busy as can be. But it's like the downtime usually when it hits. But just getting out there and doing what I do every day helps me just kind of move forward with everything. But it was definitely, it wasn't easy for sure. But it was something I just kind of set in my head. I knew that if I was sitting around thinking about it, that I wouldn't have as good a performance. And I really knew it was important to get out there and get a win.
Mm. What was the atmosphere like after the fight? Because it was an incredible win. Maybe your
Yeah.
best performance in the cage so far. Like, it was pretty flawless, I thought. I mean, the front kick you landed was incredible, and then the finishing sequence. But in the cage right afterwards, your emotion came out because you hadn't really
Mhm.
had time to
Yeah.
let that sink in and be with your family. So what was it like after the fight? I would imagine quite bittersweet. That you
Yeah. No,
don't really
it
feel
was,
like
it was,
celebrating it.
no, it was good. It was just, I don't really ever go out after my fights and go too crazy,
Mhm.
but I always get around, friends and family afterwards, and we always do something. But I just wanted to went out to dinner right after, just kind of hung out with them for a little bit, and then I got some alone time with my mom and stuff, and it was just nice to be there and be normal for a little while after the fight, because it's like the whole week I'm just like not talking to my parents, not talking to anyone that I really know that well, except for my wife and your coach, and that's about it. And so it was just nice to get out there and after the fight was over and just be normal.
Hmm. Um, like I said, incredible performance and a great win streak that you're on at the moment as well. Um, I was looking through your record earlier, and I remember I think it was maybe DC had said during the fight about how you'd been in the UFC previously and it hadn't worked out, and now you're on this incredible run. I'm
Yeah.
just curious, what do you think is the biggest difference that's happened in your career from back then compared to the run that
Yeah.
you're on now?
I mean, just the time in the cage, man. I made my pro debut, and a year and a half later, I was in the UFC. So I made
Right.
it. I got into UFC quick, and just the lack of experience caught up with me. Just the fighters are so much more well rounded in the UFC. So the 100% all it was time in the cage, time in the gym, time learning different techniques. So once that kind of caught up with me, I felt like I was ready to get back in there, and I felt like I've been ready to get back in for years now. So it was nice to get the opportunity to step back in there, and also getting this opportunity to fight top 15 position is just, it's huge. It's so cool to get the opportunities, and yeah, they're paying off and it's great and everything, but it's just cool to have the opportunity too.
Yeah. You mentioned experience then and being in there with guys that,
Mhm.
that helps to raise your level by being in there with other tough guys. An opponent you've shared the cage with before, Ilia Topuria, obviously fought last weekend
Mhm.
against Bryce Mitchell, who I know that you've been calling for a fight with for some time.
Yeah.
Did you, I was assuming that you watched the fight.
Yeah, I did. And so the thing with the Bryce Mitchell thing is that I was willing to step in on a week's notice whenever he didn't have an opponent. It wasn't like I didn't feel like I was in a position to call him out for a fight yet. I was asking for someone in between 10 and 15 because I feel like that's the kind of guy that I should be fighting to get my way into the top 15. And then once I get there, yeah, Bryce is definitely a guy for sure. And him coming off a loss too. It's definitely realistic to fight him. If I get past Dan and I move forward from there, then it's definitely realistic to fight Bryce next. And that's what I just want to keep moving up, and I want to keep moving forward with fighting ring guys, fighting whoever I can to get me moving in that direction. And I just signed a new deal, so it's like it's just nice to have things paying off that been working so hard for, and just it's nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, congratulations on the new deal as well. What did you make of Topuria's performance against Bryce? Because I think a lot of people.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, you go.
No, good. Yeah, good.
I think people were very excited about Topuria, but Bryce has fought some top competition, and obviously a lot higher in the rankings than Topuria going into the fight. But man, that I thought the performance was incredible for Emilia.
Yeah, no, it's solid, man. He's very well rounded. When we fought, I really didn't think it was going to be that style of fight. I thought it was going to be all 100% jiu-jitsu because his grappling is really, really good, and he's a legit grappler. And so the fact that he has the power that he has, and he's a good grappler, like he's a dangerous dude. So I think whoever he gets next is going to have trouble. He's a tough guy for sure. And I think Bryce is a tough guy for sure, but I think Ilya is just a little bit more athletic than him, and that's what happened is he got caught with some shots, and Ilya's a tough dude. I'm telling you, he's a good grappler. Like I wasn't surprised when he got the sub. I thought that he was gonna maybe stand up a little more and hurt him a little more, but I wasn't surprised when he pulled off the sub.
Yeah. I think that if we start talking about your next fight with Dan Ige, Dan Ige feels like a perfect next opponent for you as a guy that you're on a 4-fight win streak, and then to get Dan, who's been there with some of the guys that are ranked above him in the division. He's been there in some tough main events.
Yeah.
It feels like a perfect step up for you. I remember seeing something about how this fight kind of came together by you guys agreeing to it, like
Yep.
away from
Yep.
anything else. Tell me about that because it doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, no, I mean, right after my fight, I was right away. I was already trying to get the UFC on, who I'm fighting next, and get my manager on it. Me and my coaches were talking, and I just was like, I don't want to sit here and talk crap on social media. I don't want to make these interviews negative to where I look like an idiot because I'm the middle school wrestling coach here in Rockwall, and then my daughters watch YouTube, they see stuff like that, so. I don't want the kids looking at me different. I don't really want to do that anyways. But it's like whenever I hit him up, I hit up him, Alex Canceres, Julian Rosa, Sadiq Yusuf. I hit everybody up, and Dan's the only one that really responded to me about. He's like, hey. You've been looking great. I think you definitely deserve a top 15 shot. Let's see if we can get it lined up. So we tried to get it lined up for December. It didn't work out. So they got us on the first card in January, so that we're both ready to go. I know that he's everybody acts like he's in a really rough position because he's on this skid. But if you look at the guys he's lost to, it's just you can't hold it against him as like an opponent. Like I look at him and I know how tough he is. And I know he's lost the fights, and I'm sure there's some pressure there. But I don't look past that. I know how tough he is. I know he's gonna be ready to go.
Yeah. You mentioned when we spoke about your previous run in the UFC and that experience. Danny, and we spoke about Danny Ige and all the experience that he has against these top level guys, and kind of
Yeah,
the opportunity here is for you to take his place in the division and then be threatening, that top 10 instead of, because he's kind of been in that place for a year or two now where he was
yeah,
kind of threatening, but now you have that opportunity on your hands, which is a great place to be in, and on the win streak that you're on. This fight feels, like I said, a great matchup for you, but also like a huge opportunity to, like I said, take that place and then be
yep,
threatening and knocking on the door of the top 10.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's what I've been trying to do is that climb my way up. I don't want the easy way up or anything like that. It's not about that to me. I just love competing, and the competition's the best of the best in the top 15. So getting in that top 15 means that I'm doing the right things and I'm pushing myself to the max, really, because I mean that's everybody in the division. It's a tough fight.
Yeah, for sure. Again, mate, thank you so much for making this so easy to set up. Thank you for your time and all the best with the fight. Hopefully we'll try and catch back up with you following the fight in January. But yeah, thank you so much, mate.
Yeah, man, sounds good. Yeah,
Cool.
appreciate me on.
No worries, man. All the best with your camp. See you later.